Buongiorno a tutti. I'm going to speak in English because I know that most of you speak English, and especially my colleagues in these debates. So I would like to excuse me not to be on Skype with you all, but it's really actually impossible for me to do that. So I decided to prepare this brief video presentation on sustainable tourism, the topic of this seminar today. I hope these inputs will increase your debate and create even more questions about our tourism, present and future. From my point of view, and this is my opinion, sustainability is the same thing than competitiveness. Shouldn't be separate, really. To be competitive in tourism means to be sustainable. At least this is my point of view, and probably I can say that many people, but I know many people that really goes this direction. We are talking exactly about the opposite model of speculation that is more traditional in mass tourism. But I'm going to point out some questions for the debate. What consumers understand to be sustainable? And what tourism suppliers understand to be sustainable? Do you think consumers and tourist suppliers think and understand the same way? I have my doubts. And the answer for me is depending on demand and offer segments. It's quite different depending on the different segments, this answer. Actually, I can say, or I say, that to be sustainable is a fashion, a market-oriented reply, or what do you think? Might be a strategy for tomorrow? From my point of view, I bet more that in many cases, and if we talk about the tourism sector in general, is more a fashion than a strategy for tomorrow. There are many cases that sustainable tourism is more a greenwashing than implementing a smart tourism business, thinking of future. I know, and probably many of you know as well as me, that there are many big tourist companies that they are developing big resorts that they call green resorts, eco resorts, in many cases sustainable resorts that really are more greenwashing than any other thing. So for me, big tourist companies bet for green image rather than sustainable models that allow them to be competitive in the long term. So maybe the main problem of sustainable tourism is to be a current fashion word, forgetting why to be sustainable. This is, let's say, one of the main problems of this kind of so-called sustainable, responsible, green, ecotourism, nature, whatever, that during the last years they become to be more fashion than a real thing to be implemented. So it's more marketing rather than a planning tool. I hope you understand me, and I hope some of you disagree with me and start a debate. But let me tell you something that for me is very important. If we take into account a concept that in tourism they forgot many times, is that thinking of land, territory, land, means a look to the future, rather than thinking of a company many small companies, local authorities, or wherever. If we think of land, we think of future. Tourism should be a tool for local development and conservation, but never an aim or an objective. But this mistake happens in many rural areas, that they confuse tools with objectives. And if you think that tourism is your goal, you will be in troubles, because maybe you will get tourism, but you will not get the benefits and the incomes for tourism, especially thinking of sustainability, conservation of heritage, and so on. If we believe that tourism is this tool in a rural area or in a natural protected area, we have to respond to many different expectations coming from visitors, local people, tourist offer, other economic sectors in the rural area, national and international policies, and the like. So there are many different expectations to the same area, and this is really a conflict of interest. To achieve this difficult equilibrium, by trying to satisfy all of these expectations, we have to invest in a sustainable and competitive tourism. At least this is my opinion. That's the best way to try to answer to these different expectations. And I know I'm going to be very brief in my presentation, but I'm sure that to watch a video in your computer is not very comfortable. I prefer to be very, let's say, very quick, very direct, and then I hope my incomes will help you, or will even confuse you, to have more debate. And I'm going to point out a question for you all. Do all stakeholders agree to invest in a sustainable and competitive tourism for the future? Or are they looking for an immediate or quick economic reply, thinking of today and just a vision of a monetary incomes rather than economic, environmental, and social incomes that we really need if we think of future? So this is my question for you, and I hope this will animate this debate. Thank you very much for your attention. It's a real pity that I cannot be with you sharing this debate, but I hope my questions, my doubts, will really make you think of, let's say, with another point of view. Grazie tanto a tutti i partecipanti. Ciao.